going on, everyone? This is Zach Siegs coming to you from Brooklyn. I wanted to take a bit to talk to you sort of about my story as a musician, as well as diving into my writing process a bit. So I'm originally from Alexandria, Virginia, about 10 minutes south of Washington, D.C. I'm a recording artist, so I make my own solo music. I'm a music producer, so I make beats for myself and others. And I'm an audio engineer as well, so I mix and master. To start from the beginning, I've been going to concerts since I was about 6 or 7. I've always really loved music. It's always just been kind of my thing that I've been obsessed with. I was in middle school band, all that good stuff. So I kind of started to veer towards it early on. And when I got to high school, there were a lot of other people around me who were doing the same thing. So that's kind of when I started doing stuff that I was at least semi-serious about. So the first thing I did, I joined a band with some friends. It was sort of a reggae rock band. I think this was 8th and 9th grade. I played bass and sang backup in that band. And that was a lot of fun and kind of solidified my love for music and my determination to do something with it. The next thing that happened was probably as I progressed through high school, I found myself sort of surrounded by a lot of rappers and digital singers and modern artists. So what I decided was I would be a producer, right? So I started making beats for all these people that went to my high school and neighboring high schools. And then I started recording in my basement, building my studio, mom's basement. During that time that I was producing for friends, I wanted to start mixing and mastering as well because I kind of wanted to be a part of the entire creation process and just learn as much as possible while I was young, right? So that was kind of the start of my audio engineering career as well. I also was doing live shows, DJing for some of these rappers as well. So that was my introduction to live performance as well. So all of that kind of started in high school when I knew that music was something that I was into. As high school was coming to a close, I realized that this is what I wanted to do with my life, and I decided that the next step would be going to college for music. So I ended up at Elon University in North Carolina to study music production and recording arts. When I got to school, I kind of just kept on doing what I was doing at first. I was still producing for people back home. I was producing for new friends at school. I was meeting people online to produce for. Really just trying to collaborate with as much people as possible. I would mix and master for people. I would go home sometimes to DJ friends' shows. I was still trying to DJ events at school, whether it was parties or sorority events or whatever I could really do, I tried to do it. And then as I was kind of growing older, growing into a better musician, growing into a more confident person at school, is when I kind of decided that I wanted to try my own hand at writing and singing and rapping vocally.
Yeah, they can't control me. Feel like I'm the only one that sees the bigger picture, got me feeling lonely. Don't get me wrong, I love all my homies. The rest of them just phony. I'm God like I'm Tony.
So that is when I started to become a solo artist. So I got to work kind of trying to figure out my sound. I was writing and singing and rapping, and I dropped my first single going into my senior year. It was called Broken. And then shortly after that is when the pandemic hit, actually. So when quarantine started, I moved back home to work on some music and dropped a couple more singles during that. September 2020, I decided that I needed a location change. I just kind of wanted a new network in a new city and a new environment to get the ball rolling. So I decided that I would move up to New York. After the move, I kind of just continued to make some music, tried to meet as many people as possible up in New York. And once the pandemic kind of slowed down to the point where colleges could start booking people, I went on my first tour. This past fall, I got the opportunity to take part in my first tour. We went and performed at a bunch of big schools like Oklahoma, Ole Miss, UT Austin. got to open for some staple names like Murda Beats and Waka Flocka, which was a very great experience. And that was all thanks to a good friend of mine named Marid from a company called Refresh Music Group that he started. So this is sort of a lesson on it's all about who you know, right? So backtrack to high school. I was working with a friend of mine named Hef as a producer, and his manager was actually Marid from Refresh. I kept in touch with Marid for years through producing or DJing or whatever it was that he was helping me with or I was helping him with. And he started booking more and more shows as the years went on. And eventually he asked if I wanted to open on his fall tour this past fall. So that's kind of what led up to that and how that happened. So as of now, that's kind of my up-to-date story. And now that you know a bit about me, I kind of want to dive into my writing process and what inspires me. So something that I've learned over the years is that everybody kind of has their own way of doing things in music, their own process. And a lot of people even have several processes that they juggle between. I'm definitely one of those people that kind of switches between different paths depending on the song or what I'm trying to get at. But basically, I would say the majority of the time I start with a feeling, right? So whether it's me making a beat, I'm creating a feeling. Or if someone sends me a beat and I'm looking through the pack of beats they sent me, I'm listening to the beats and I'm drawing, like, what do I feel from this right now, basically.
Yeah, cooking up.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Good for them, bro.
Yeah.
So once I create or decide on a feeling, the next step is I kind of take that feeling and look at what topics or concepts would work with that feeling lyrically or visually. Well, I might think, this beat is making me feel sad. The broad topic might be, depression or heartbreak or whatever it is. And then once I kind of have a realm of topic, I have to decide what exactly I want to portray. Like, what image do I want to put in your mind? What do I want to make you think about? What situation do I want to give off? Now that I have the situation and the image in mind that I want to portray, I start to write lyrics and melodies. I know that my biggest strength is melody making, so what I'll do is kind of hum out or use filler words and create all the melodies and flows that I want, and then go back and sort of fill them in like a puzzle with lyrics. That's probably my most typical way of writing. There are definitely other times where I'll write in my journal or in my notes, and then I'll hear a beat later on and kind of think that that would just fit really well, and I'll put it in there that way instead. There are also times where the process is just kind of more of a freestyle depending on how hard the beat is or how inspired I'm feeling. Inspiration definitely plays a big role in like deciding how I'm gonna go about writing a song. If I want to have a lot of fun and I'm just kind of in a great mood, I might freestyle it. If I want to write something really real and something really personal, I'll probably take more time and actually write out the bars in my journal or in my notes. But yeah, I think kind of being inspired and being passionate is one of the most important parts of being an artist for sure. And there are a lot of different things that I personally draw from. I would say the way that I get the majority of my inspiration is from listening to other artists. I'm definitely someone who likes to blend genres and create music in a lot of different genres, so I find it very, very important to listen to different genres and a ton of different artists as well. Whether it's reggae, rock, rap, pop, indie, whatever I'm listening to, I try and listen to different things that I really love about that song or love about that artist and see how I can kind of like incorporate maybe a version of that into my music. Another place that I like to get a lot of my inspiration from is TV and movies. Personally, I like to watch a lot of anime. I think that anime is really visually inspiring. I also think that the framing and the detail that they put into their storytelling and character development is always really impressive and something that I look up to and draw from often. They also teach a lot of lessons and morals in anime that I put in my lyrics and songs often. And yeah, I think it's just a very emotionally intelligent form of art. And collaborating with others is definitely always a good way to get out of a slump or get some extra motivation or push. You can look at their process and maybe try out their process. You can look at the things they're talking about. You can just talking to other artists always helps me kind of work through what I'm trying to create and help me like solidify my vision. So that was a bit of a look into my process and kind of what keeps me going and keeps me inspired. A little bit about myself. Thank you all for listening. Follow me on IG at Siegs, SIEGZ _ if you want to follow along. And yeah, just keep going, everyone. Appreciate it.